Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Welcome. Welcome, welcome. All right. There's an elephant in the room. And yes, I am in a different room, but that's not the elephant. The elephant in the room is that today was one of those days where whatever could go wrong did go wrong. Okay. I told you guys I was going to be in Florida by the time that you guys saw this. And I just want to take a moment to tell you that I am not in Florida. Matter of fact, I'm still in Seattle. I have been at the airport the entire day and I have not departed. And now I'm in a hotel room. Konnichiwa, Steve. I threw out my back. So if you see me randomly go, ah, it's because of my back. It's because of my back. My mic, which I packed because nothing could get in the way of this podcast besides forgetting the cord that I plug into my Mac that connects this. So I am going off the Bose headphones. Now, when I bought these headphones, these noise canceling, beautiful headphones, I did not have in mind that I would one day be shooting my podcast with them, but I'm glad I have them now. I've also found myself on a no-fly list. And just to clarify for everybody out there, I'm not a Karen and I have no idea how this happened. Well, I kind of have an idea, but let me just say, when people take advantage of the power they have or they're on a power trip, one of those happened. I ended up on the no-fly list and it got worked out, but it took all day. Basically, I have a service animal and there were some issues where they wouldn't let the service animal board on the plane, even though I had letters, from my doctor and prior approval with DTS, who you travel through. And they, started, chattering at me and I chattered back and, said a couple cuss words, but it wasn't like I was screaming or anything. And then I left and went to the help center and I told them, I was like, look, I got all my paperwork right here. That this is my dog. Here's my doctor. I mean, I don't see what the issue is. And then, they're like, oh yeah, yeah. No, they messed up. You're supposed to be on that plane. The one that I'm watching take off outside the window, literally. And I'm like, I know. And they're like, we're gonna get it fixed right away. Then they come over 2 hours later and they're like, we got you a new flight but it leaves at 11 p.m. But there's a problem. You're on a no fly list. And I was like, a no fly list? Yes, Steve, yes, a no fly list. I said, wait a minute, that's a list that you go on when you are a threat, like as a terrorist, like a bomb threat. I mean, what does this world come to where we can't have an exchange at the counter? Mind you, there was no people around. I made sure there wasn't kids. I'm not cussing in public with little kids around. It was a very appropriate conversation, but it was one of those pissing contests. And because he has the power to push his little buttons, he put me on the no fly list. So I talked to the manager and I was like, look, man, I'm not supposed to be on this list. And then he took me off right away. But my flight leaving at 11 is not going to happen because they screwed that up too. It was 11 tomorrow, not 11 tonight. So I had to, take a shuttle. I threw my back out too, giving my dog a bath this morning. So it's just been a day, but I got to tell you, and I'm gonna hit this really quick. Bill says flight crew can throw you on a list like at the drop of a hat, just like you said at the beginning. Give a nobody power and they will abuse it. I'm telling you, and I know obviously you're only hearing my side of the story, but I'm telling the truth. Like this was when we found out I was on a no fly list. Like it was true laughter. Like it was like hilarious. It was like something you'd see in a rom-com where you got to call, your family and tell them, hey, don't pick me up at the airport tonight. I'm on a no fly list. And then they, or like, what happened? And then you're like, nothing, and nobody believes you. But I'm telling you guys, this is ridiculous. So that's why that I got taken off it right away. But I mean, geez, talk about a day. I mean, it has just been a day. Now, this is what I wanted to say. This trivia that we're doing, I've never been more excited for in my life. And I'm not exaggerating. I've had all day to focus on 15 trivia questions. And you know what? People are very, very lazy on the internet. A lot of people, what they do is, and look, I only know this because I did it when we first started trivia. I would just Google NFL trivia and I would find other templates and stuff like that. But then what I found was that those trivias were also very lazy. It was like, which one of these players was a unanimous MVP? And there's a couple good ones you find, but a lot of them were just so easy. I mean, there were so many that were like, which city uses the logo Steeler? Arizona, Pittsburgh. And it was just like, come on. So I found in life, whether it's getting your car washed, getting your house cleaned, if you want to do something right, you have to do it yourself. And this is the way I think trivia should be. You may not know any of these answers, but I can promise you this: you will have so much fun learning the answers if you don't know them. And each one is guessable. No stupid hard questions for the sake of just being difficult. Now, these are very informative, fun questions that you've probably never been asked before. And I themed this one because as of today, 420, we are exactly 7 days from the NFL draft. What's going to happen? Is Carolina going to reveal what they're going to do? Are they going to not tell anybody till the draft starts? They've been on the clock for what, 2 months now? So we are going to theme this trivia about not just the NFL draft, not the combine, we did that already, the first overall picks. The first overall picks in the NFL draft. And there's only about 2 questions that divert from that. But I think you guys are going to love this one, okay? So, without further ado, let me get all this set up here. All right, here we go. I'm not going to put a timer on today because obviously with the setup and I can't do it. So let's try to answer these questions in about 30 seconds. I'm not sure how the internet connection's reaching. I'm on the hotel Wi-Fi, but I'm gonna count, I guess, 30 seconds, after I finish the question. Okay. So here we go with question number uno. Which team has had the most first overall picks in the NFL draft? So, first overall pick is first round, first pick. I just in case, you're new to football or you're learning, not just, first round pick, but the very, very first pick in the draft. Steve said I never do good on drafts since I never watched college ball. Same here, but I tried to make this about players that we know. It's very, very NFL focused for being a draft trivia, and you'll see what I mean. Oh, yes, yes. Sorry, Bill. You do have options, and now I will let you know what those are. A, Indianapolis. B, Tampa Bay. C, Cleveland. Or D, Arizona. Which team has had the most first overall picks in the NFL draft?
I'm not sure I
India.
understand.
Why are you listening when I don't even call you? I'm telling you, watch out for these things. Every time I have a good idea, I don't even say it out loud anymore. Which team has had the most first overall picks in the NFL draft? So Steve's going with D, Arizona. Bill, you can go again because Falcons wasn't one of the options. Gonna go with the Browns. Smart. Feels like, at least when I was a kid, they were going first overall all the time. And looks like Bill and Steve are the only ones answering right now. For the people that watch this in the future, you can always comment your answers. This is a game of integrity. We take you at your word. Just go ahead and throw in the comments how many you got right. And then tell me which ones, though, because I'm curious. I like to know which ones everybody knew, which ones people didn't know, whatever. So the answer is A, Indianapolis. And I thought about it and I was like, well, I mean, my whole life, Indy didn't really pick number one. They picked Peyton Manning, and then because Peyton Manning is Peyton effing Manning, they didn't have to pick again until he hurt his neck and he was out for the whole season. And Indianapolis has had 7 total first overall picks. And Tampa Bay, Cleveland, and Arizona were all good guesses because they are tied with 5. So they are in a 3-way tie for second. I'm not sure if there was a 4th team with 5 when I was looking at this, but I just wanted to do A through D. So Tampa Bay, Cleveland, and Arizona all have 5 apiece. Indianapolis, that's you, Jinja. 7 first overall picks. And Steve said tough one since all those teams have had so many bad seasons. Yeah, I could see the Colts getting the most. Steve throwing shade, LOL. Throwing shade. I don't know if we got any Arizona, Cleveland, Tampa Bay fans, but I know we got Colts fans, and I'm about to let Ginger know no team has been as bad as the Colts 7 times. I don't know how to phrase that. No team has been the worst more than the Colts. They're the best at being the worst. Question number 2. All right. Let me get rid of that one. Here we go. The first overall pick, this first overall pick was the fastest quarterback to reach 40,000 passing yards in NFL history. This first overall pick is the fastest quarterback to reach 40,000 passing yards in NFL history. A, Peyton Manning. B, Eli Manning. C, John Elway. D, Matthew Stafford. Now it's cool. It's cool because it's like these guys all have this one thing in common, that in their draft class they were the best of the best. And that's why I had so much fun with this trivia, is because you're comparing, you know, these people who all have one thing in common, extreme amount of hype going into their NFL career, and now we're measuring them against each other to see which ones, you know, did things that the others didn't do. I got to go over the comments here. And Steve going, I thought for sure Detroit, only error that was good for them was Barry Sanders. Yeah, I thought so too on the last one. Steve saying Dan Marino, and then Peyton Manning, and then Bill goes, Peyton can't be that much of a Giants homer. Oh, you don't want to go with Eli? I'm just saying. So the answer is Matthew Stafford. Matthew Stafford became not only the fastest, but no, it was the fastest. I want to say, yeah, fastest, not first. So I don't know how much passing yards John Elway threw. These other ones, I actually put the stats next to him only for me to see, so I don't have to all-time passing yards. But Matthew Stafford was the fastest to do it. And yeah, go figure, Matthew Stafford, right? So Peyton Manning has 71,940 passing yards, which is a shit ton. But I guess Matthew Stafford is out there slinging it. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. Nuts. Got to stick with my first guess. I thought for sure Marino hit 40K. So it's not whether these guys hit 40K or not, it's who hit 40K the fastest. And if you think about it, the era that Peyton Manning came in, it was still very physical, run the ball. And then, I would say going into the 2000s, when Matthew Stafford was picked in 2007, probably, that's when it was like the game really started shifting. And I would say probably if I had to take a guess, it was Megatron, um, Calvin Johnson, that inducted in the Hall of Fame last season, who probably caught most of those. Um, but yeah, fun question, right? And then Steve, my bad, I didn't pay attention to the fastest. Big L. I know, and I didn't mean to set it up like that, but I was reading, all these fun facts about these first overall picks, and I was like, damn, that is interesting. I would never have thought Matthew Stafford, but you got to give that guy some respect because he's like one of those guys that got statistically a lot done and doesn't necessarily get a ton of credit because he was playing in Detroit. But if you ever heard Aaron Rodgers talk about Matthew Stafford, he was like really quick to be like, Matthew Stafford is a really good quarterback, really tough. Because somebody was talking shit about Matthew Stafford on a podcast. Oh, it was Pat McAfee. It was during an interview. And Aaron Rodgers just shut it down. He was like, I have so much respect for Matthew Stafford, and that guy has an arm too. I mean, when he was in his prime, he was good. If he wasn't in Detroit, man, he could have been, even more special. All right, question number 3. This is getting really fun now, okay? Which first overall pick has the most Super Bowl rings? Drew Bledsoe, Keyshawn Johnson, Peyton Manning, Troy Aikman. Which first overall pick has the most rings on their fingers? Nobody's looking like Tom. Can't even hold it on one hand. But who's got the most rings out of these first overall picks? Drew Bledsoe, Keyshawn Johnson, Peyton Manning, Troy Aikman. You can say that for about 95% of the Lions players in history. Yeah, it's sad. Truly sad. Tom was 6th round anyway. Yeah, yeah. I'm just saying nobody's gonna fill up like that. That's also kind of cool is that we can have um, statistical questions, and it's not just Tom Brady, Drew Brees. Like the fact that you have to meet the criteria of being a first overall pick, it makes this so much fun. Honestly, I think that this would be. I think so many people would have a field day doing this trivia. I really hope people love it. I'm gonna clip this into shorts. So Bill's saying, Keyshawn, straight up guess. And Keyshawn Johnson was playing for the Cowboys. There's somebody else that was playing for. Well, was he playing for the Cowboys when he won? It's a little bit before my time. I should know. I'll be better. And then Steve saying Montana was 5th, and I can't remember Bradshaw, but it for sure wasn't. But oh, for sure wasn't first. So I gave these are the options, just to be clear. Drew Bledsoe, Keyshawn Johnson, Peyton Manning, Troy Aikman. Those are the top 4 that have the most Super Bowl rings um, of any first overall pick, which shows you on a larger scale that there isn't a ton of success, with the first overall pick. And I find that really interesting. Eli was first, and he has 2. So that would have been my guess. Well, these are the players. Okay. Choices again. Drew Bledsoe, Keyshawn Johnson, Peyton Manning. you talk out of line one more time. Troy Aikman. And Steve going with Troy Aikman and Bill going with Keyshawn. We're going to stick with Keyshawn. The answer is Troy Aikman. Troy Aikman has the most Super Bowl rings of any first overall pick. Drew Bledsoe has one. He won Super Bowl 36. Keyshawn Johnson won Super Bowl 37. Peyton Manning won Super Bowl 41 and 50. And Troy Aikman. I didn't realize how good he was until I had to write this out. He won Super Bowls 27, 28, and 30. Dude, Troy Aikman was a bad man. He won 3 Super Bowls in 4 freaking years. I mean, how impressive is that? How impressive is that? I don't know if anybody, probably maybe Tom Brady, but man, to win 3 and 4, it's pretty damn good. 1 Super Bowl away from a 4-peat. Jeez. Troy Aikman from Super Bowl 27 to 30 was the GOAT. He should have had 4 if not for the Niners violating the cap. Oh, could you imagine? I don't know if that would ever get a record like that may live forever. There's records, they always say records are made to be broken, and then you see one once in a while that you're like, yeah, no, that's never getting broken. And I think winning 4 Super Bowls in a row, that would be tough. Maybe Patrick Mahomes could do it. Maybe. If I had to put, guess somebody that could, it would be Mahomes. But man, that would be something. I mean, in one way, it's like, wow, I get to experience something so, so rare. But on the other hand, it's like, dude, I'm tired of the Cowboys. You know how people got with there were people that couldn't stand the Patriots winning the Super Bowl. And as long as the Broncos weren't in it, I kind of liked it. I was like, no, man, I hope Tom Brady wins so many that it's just ridiculous because he works really hard. And I always like to see, hard work pay off. It's almost like because he had so many haters, I wanted him to win more. Unless they were playing the Broncos, then I couldn't stand him. All right, moving on. Steve said dude, they were still in that game though. Emmett was injured for the game, and man, Steve saying he remembers the game, like that's pretty damn cool. I know YouTube has all these games. We should rewatch the Cowboys Niners NFC Championship game in what was that? Two What year is that? Well, it's Super Bowl 29. What year would that be? That'd be 20 years before 2015. That would be like 1984, I believe. They were still in that game. I think 1984 NFC Championship. Fact check me on that, Siri. Okay, so here we go. Questions. I wouldn't say getting harder. I wouldn't say they're getting easier, but they're going to stay about where it's at right now, okay? Here we go. This is a fun one. Which first overall pick has thrown the most interceptions in the NFL? And if Brett Favre was a first overall pick, he would be everybody's guess. Vinny Testaverde. I think he's pronounces his name different, but forgive me, I'm ignorant. Peyton Manning, Eli Manning, John Elway. I will tell you, these aren't 4 random names. These are the top 4, but it's up to you to put them in order. Vinny Testaverde. Let's try this. Testaverde. Vinny Testaverde. That's how I would guess. Testaverde. Oh, okay. Thank you, Steve. I appreciate that. Now this one I can guess. Eli. Bill, ragging on your boy. Eli, what'd he do? All he did was win 2 Super Bowls. You know, you know what they say though. It's not always a record about your performance, but it's a record about time. I don't know if they say that. I just made that up. But there are some records that it's like let's say well, I'll get to that answer. So, Steve, who you got? You got Peyton, Eli. That's kind of cool, man, to just you and your brother are, not just 2 NFL players, but 2 first overall that played quarterback that are on these lists together. It just feels like Peyton was so much better than Eli, but here he is, Eli's on these lists. He reminds you once in a while. So the choices are Vinny Testaverde. I still sound Vinny Testaverde. Peyton Manning, Eli Manning, his little brother, and John Elway. John Elway, who just stepped down from his position with the Denver Broncos. Man, when you see those pictures of presidents that leave the White House and, you look at a picture of Obama when he was going in office and you see him when he's leaving, you're just like, oh, damn, that White House has aged you. John Elway, man, if you look at his decade with the Broncos, like when he was first there, he looked young. He looked like he could still throw a helmet on and, not playing the game, but he could still sling it. And now you look at him and just the wrinkles, the alcohol. I think he's just drinking too much, man. It just doesn't look healthy. Sticking with Eli, back in 3 minutes. Need a new gin. Gin. It's a gin kind of night. I like it. Spicing it up. Steve's going Vinny. He's going with Vinny Testaverde. That is his final answer to the test of Verde. And the question, or rather the answer, is Vinny. Vinny. Steve is right. It's Vinny. Vinny's got 267 INTs, also known as interceptions, with Peyton Manning in second place with 251. Only, look at that, 10, 16, only 16 less interceptions for Peyton Manning. And then Eli Manning right under his brother. So Peyton's at 251, Eli Manning 244, John Elway 226. John Elway, he's safe by what, 18? But Peyton and Eli 7 interceptions away. I think Peyton played more seasons though, right? Didn't he play? Oh, how long was Eli there? Peyton was there for 18 seasons. I feel like Eli was probably around 16, 17. And then Vinny, 267. Steve's got it. So I pour a new gin, and you're talking about Elway being wrecked from alcohol. he was the interception king of all. Steve's got it. So yep, actually, thank you for saying that because I need to write this down. That's why I got this open right here. Notepad. Just want to keep track. Here it is. All right. Actually, I'll just do it right here. So Steve got Vinny Testaverde. Okay, got it. Here we go. Bill said, Steve, the Cowboys 49ers game, was that 1981? I was trying to do the math and I screwed it up. 1994, I believe, or around that era. Okay. Here we go. Question I forgot what number we're on because I didn't label them. But the next question, here we go. This is going to get more fun. Which first overall pick has had the most rushing yards? Which first overall pick has had the most rushing yards? You do have options. Here they are: Earl Campbell, George Rogers, O.J. Simpson, Michael Vick. Ooh, we got a non-running back on the list in Michael Vick. 81 was Montana era. That was during Young's era. Yeah, I'm 28, so sometimes my ignorance will just lump those eras and just see them as just one era. 'Cause when you're not around for something, the way it's almost like when you don't go somewhere and you see it a certain way in your head and then you actually go there. I wasn't there, but if I watched more old games, I would probably be better at this. It's just hard because you know that you could just fast forward it and you know how it ends. There's something about watching football live and not knowing how it ends that makes you appreciate the moments of the game. And it's hard to replicate that. But that's why I tip my hat to anybody that can really get into history because they don't care, about that. They can appreciate, they can live in that moment. They can channel that and just not fast forward. If I'm seeing the game go a certain way, it's hard for me not to just scoot scoot it forward another quarter and be like, I don't want to see that. Steve said I'll go with OJ. I think he played the longest. And Bill said Rogers because OJ got most of his yards in a Ford Bronco. Oh, is that is that a is that the vehicle he used to get away? I'm not even kidding. I can tell that you set it up and it's probably an OJ joke, but I don't know anything about the case. I just know that he did it based on what everyone else has said about it. Very few cases does the entire world agree that somebody has done anything. Ray Lewis, too. Ray Lewis. It's easy to forget about Ray Lewis, but man, that one's like bad. It's like hotel, the girl's blood is on your suit in the trash outside the hotel. I mean, something stinks there. Something stinks. And I'll give you the answer now. I think it's been enough time for everybody. So we got Steve going with OJ, Bill's going with Rogers, and the answer is OJ Simpson. OJ had 11,236 rushing yards. Earl Campbell came in second. I've always liked Earl Campbell because my dad used to have a Houston Oilers throwback jersey, one of those really nice stitched ones. And I thought it was so cool. So Earl Campbell, his highlights were insane because that's why I looked him up. I was like, my dad likes him. I wonder if he's, who he is. And well, that guy was just power, straight power. Earl Campbell had 9,407. So OJ Simpson, almost clearing what, 1,800 yards more than second place. That's at least a season and a half, maybe one season, depending on how good you are. George Rogers came in third with 7,176. So about, let's see, 2,200 under Earl Campbell. And Michael Vick is in fourth with 6,109. And these are in order. These are the four players that have the most rushing yards for first overall pick. Michael Vick, being on the list. Could you imagine if he didn't take what? How long was he in prison? Was it 4 years? No, I think it was 3. If you could you imagine? I mean, depending on how long. I also learned that Michael Vick spells his name with an AEL. Um, that's what's good about writing things yourself is that you learn 23 months. Okay, so 2 years. So, okay, let's not act like he would have been number 1. He wasn't gone for 5 years, but still, he definitely I think in 2 seasons he could have gotten what, that extra 1,000 yards to jump George Rogers, but Bill with another answer or Steve, sorry. It's like Bill's going to get all these points. So we got Steve answering the correct answer with OJ Simpson. Good job. Good shit. All right. Steve said, I almost went with Earl. He was amazing. QB should not be on the list for that. They end up with an extra blocker when they run because you'd be hard pressed to see a quarterback block for a running back with any real effort. The stats are the stats. I'm just saying you're saying basically quarterbacks have a lot of easy yardage to pick up, but running backs have hard earned yardage. But you could also make an argument the quarterbacks have fewer attempts than the running backs, right? And the running backs sometimes have big gaping holes to bust right through. So, I mean, I'm not ruling out quarterbacks. If they can run, they can have it. If they can run, they can have it. But that's just one man's opinion, and I respect yours, and I do see what you mean in a way. But these are the 4 most rushing yards. I wonder who it would have been if it wasn't a quarterback. I wonder who. Let's see. I put it in my notes here. And shout out to StatMuse for having these insane amount of stats. I can't remember where it was. I I saved it under something weird. And we'll just move on and I'll get back to you at that one. All right, here we go. Here we go. You all ready? Out of these first overall picks, who had the most sacks? Ooh, who had the most sacks? All right, here we go. Courtney Brown, Jadeveon Clowney, Myles Garrett, Mario Williams. And you guys have probably heard my Mario Williams story by now, where my dad was a golf pro and he worked with Kevin Walter, who was an NFL wide receiver for the Texans. He worked with his brother. So my dad and him became buddies, and I got to meet all the Texans and the players and got footballs. And actually, at the time, Kevin Walter, he was playing for the Bengals, but he was traded to the Texans. And I was a diehard Reggie Bush fan. He made me fall in love with the running back position. It made everybody want to be a running back. He was amazing. And if the Texans with the first overall pick would have drafted Reggie Bush, I would have got to meet him. So I cried the day with the first overall pick, the Houston Texans select Mario Williams. That will forever be one of the worst days of my young childhood. That was a sad day. No clue. I'll just take a chance on Garrett. Myles Garrett. That's a safe place to land. And Bill's going Clowney. Said I think it was AI Bundy. Al Bundy. Oh, okay. For the rushing yards. And So we got Jadeveon Clowney and we got Miles Garrett. Now, the answer is Mario Williams. And I'll add that Miles Garrett is going to eventually, whether it happens, well, it'd probably happen in 2025, but Miles Garrett will easily be the player with the most sacks because Mario Williams has 97.5 in his career. I'll say had. Jadeveon Clowney, 43. Okay, so Clowney not really living up to the hype. Miles Garrett has 74.5. Damn. And perhaps one of the biggest busts in the NFL first overall pick, Courtney Brown. I threw him in there because it's funny. He only had 19 sacks in his entire career, and it did not work out. He was a bad pick. Might be a good guy, but it was a bad pick. Now, here's a bonus question that I threw in here, okay? Miles Garrett had the same number of sacks in 2021 and 2022. What's the number? What's the number? Now, this one's not multiple choice. This is one of those where you just have to guess. Oh yeah, Bill. I I wouldn't have known any of these. I would have guessed Mario Williams based on length of career. Um, OJ, I'll never know. I would like to think I would have guessed that, but I probably would have gone with Earl Campbell. Most interceptions, I probably would have went with Peyton Manning. Um, just because I knew he played a long time and I didn't know how long Vinny played. Most Super Bowl rings, I would have gone Troy Aikman just because I knew he won. Um, I wasn't sure how many Drew Bledsoe won, but I knew if he won, you know, as many as Troy Aikman, he would be a bigger staple. Um, First quarterback to reach 40,000 yards would have got that wrong. Team with the most overall picks would have got that wrong. So, I mean, these are hard, but yeah, these are definitely the question. When someone asks you a stupid hard question, you you know the answer and it's gone because it was a stupid question, so you don't remember it. But these are the kind of questions, at least for me, that once I read it, it's like now I know it. Now I know Matthew Stafford reached 40,000 the fastest. It's not going anywhere. Steve's going with 15. Bill's going with 12. And the answer is 16. He had 16 sacks in 2021, and he had 16 sacks in 2022. He's consistent. He's consistent. Miles Garrett is a force on the field, and that's why that 97.5 Mario Williams has. Miles Garrett's going to take that. He's going to take that in a lot more. I wouldn't be surprised if Miles Garrett ends up with 200 career sacks. And I don't know who's the sack leader. Reggie White? Who is the all-time sack leader? Bruce Smith. 200 total sacks. Look at that. I just guessed 200, and in my head, I was like, I wonder if that's a record. And that is the record. That's kind of cool that in my head, I knew. Reggie White's number 2, 198. Look at that. Would have got that wrong if Reggie White was an option. I don't know much about this Bruce Smith, but he was drafted the same year that Reggie White was, so I should know him. But look at that. Holy wow. Wow. Bruce Smith played until 1999. Reggie White only played 7 seasons. He retired in 92. Reggie White had 198. It took this other dude an extra 7 years to get 2 sacks more than Reggie White. Dude, could you imagine if Reggie White would have had a, 18-year career instead of a 7? Had a long career like Von Miller? That's crazy. That's crazy. Man, that is crazy. 7 years. And obviously he's not with us anymore. I actually remember, growing up in Wisconsin, my dad was always like, Reggie White is such a good man. He's such a good person. He's not arrogant. My dad could always respect like football players that were like beasts, but they weren't showboaters. You know, some people don't mind the showboating. They're like, oh yeah, it's part of the game. You look good, you feel good, kind of the Deion Sanders vibe. My dad was always judging everybody for dancing and just he used to tell me when you score a touchdown, just give the ball to the ref and tell him I'll see you in a little bit. And I was like, oh wow, that's so cool. And then I got older, and I'm like, that's also arrogant. You just have a different flavor. Like that is just as arrogant as dancing. But that was a sidebar. Reggie was insane. LT was my dude, Steve. Loved him. Yeah, I may never get a guy like Von Miller. I feel like everybody has that one defensive player that really stands out when it comes to sacks. Champ Bailey, but Von Miller's, I would say, in the next 50 years, Von Miller will still be talked about. I mean, he won Super Bowl MVP. You know how hard it is to win as a non-quarterback any award that is significant, like Super Bowl MVP or like the Heisman Trophy, which this is a taste to one of my later questions that I have, and it's very educational. I wrote about 3 sentences before I even asked my question because I wanted to take the time to do some education, educational whatever, because I didn't know any of this crap and I just had to write it out. I had to write it out. You'll see what I mean in a second, okay? So we are only about 4 questions away from one I'm really excited about. All right, here we go. Oh, Bill saying got to get the parrot. Parrot, you got a parrot? Like a bird? I when were you going to tell us that you have a parrot? That is amazing. Steve said, I wonder if you count the sacks he got when he played for the Sharks, if LT would have had the most. But Sharks. Is that Canadian football or is that arena football? Because I don't think you can count it because it has to be going against NFL caliber offensive linemen. Like that's what gives a sack. It's like that's the constant, right? There there has to be, an earned sack. Like what, you know, who's to say that in arena football, let's say Myles Garrett decides to go play arena, and he gets 30 sacks in a season. He shouldn't just, get to add those to his overall. That's that's the team he played for in the movie Any Given Sunday. Oh my god. Oh god. Oh, that's embarrassing. Oh man. Well, guys, I'm gonna go hide. Oh man, that is embarrassing. I went way too deep into that. You're gonna love this one though. You are. I'm gonna try to recover from that. All right. Ready? Name the running back selected first overall since 1977. Not multiple choice, but you'll get 1 point for each correct answer. 2 points for each correct answer with college. All right, here's your hint. There's 6 total running backs that have been drafted with the first overall pick since 1977. You'll get a point for every player that you can guess correctly. And if you attach their college, you'll get 2 points. And I think you guys are gonna like this question. Maybe you don't. You might hate this question. It depends. I mean, you knew a lot about the uh, Troy Aikman era. 1977's a little before, but there's a lot of these are in that era of what we were talking about earlier. So, good luck. Really makes you think too, because there's a lot of running backs that are really good that were drafted second and third overall. Back, and it's not strong. We really have an African gray parrot. It's not slang. That's awesome. That is amazing. I love it. Some people have to go answer the door. Some people, the pizza's here. Some people got to take a quick bathroom break. Not Bill. Bill has got to go tend his parrot. Yeah, I have unique friends, man. I love it. I love it. Because now I can tell people, you know, "Oh, I don't know a parrot. No, but no, I know somebody that does. You know, I like to be diverse. I like there to be no subject that I stray from. By the way, Bill, the question was this, okay? Name the running backs that were selected with the first overall pick since 1977. You do get a hint. There's 6 total running backs since 1977 that were selected first overall. If you can guess the player, you get a point. If you guess the player and the college he went to, you'll get 2 points. So even if you only were to guess 2 players, but you knew the college, that's 4 points. And the big hint is that there's 6 total, right? Because without a number, it's just like it gets really, really hard. And by the way, if I were taking this exact trivia, I would get 0 points with this question. A big fat nothing. And I'm not too proud to say it. But after today, I would do pretty well on this trivia. You'd probably hope I would, but I really learned a lot creating this one. First pick, first overall pick in the first round of the, or no, it would be like the 2023 draft has begun. Carolina Panthers are on the clock, and then they come out and go with the first overall pick in the 2023 draft. The Carolina Panthers select Saquon Barkley. I was trying to remember that dude from Texas, and I drew a blank. Not cool. Why can't I remember that guy's name? Every time I can remember Devon Achane. I think Devon Achane's going to be good. Bijan Robinson. Come on, man. Get it in there. Bill said, Bijan. I know Earl Campbell and Bo Jackson for sure. Then the bust for Cincy. Ooh. Wow. So I didn't even write down which teams picked them. Now I know Cincy. I got 0 clue. I'm right there with you, Bill. Hypoth- Hypothetical for this year, but I get where you're going. Yeah, totally hypothetical. Totally hypothetical. But just to paint paint the picture, the very first. Now, we're going to kind of get to that question earlier about how, NFL has changed so much between which positions we consider extremely valuable. I want to say the Saints running back, but I can't remember his name. Had the dreads and got suspended a lot for weed. Oh, Um, that's the same guy that played for the Dolphins. Ricky Williams? I think Ricky Williams. By the way, if you ever seen a documentary on Ricky Williams today, he's doing really well. He's still like very, hippie, but he's intelligent hippie, not loser hippie. Backpacking around Europe, learning about different cultures. I say as long as you're learning, you're growing. As long as you're growing, you're living. I don't ever want to get to an age where I know enough. I know enough. I'm just gonna, you know, sit here and not learn anything for the rest of my life. I'll probably always pick up hobbies. So, Steve, Bill was honest. He says, I got zero clue. Steve's going to go with three players, and I got good news. You got all three of those right. Ricky Williams wasn't a first overall pick. Um, but there was a rookie, a Ricky, Ricky Bell, 1977 out of USC. The very next year, Earl Campbell was drafted from Texas. 2 years later, Billy Sims from Oklahoma. The year after that, 1981, George Rogers was drafted from South Carolina. 5 years later, Bo Jackson out of Auburn was drafted. And then the bust, Kijana Carter, 1995 Penn State, which you've informed me that it was the Bengals that made that terrible draft. Everybody's guilty of a bust. Sucks even more when it happens with the first overall pick. Okay, so you got 3 or 4 guesses. So Steve got 3. Yeah, you got 3 points on that one. On the All right, Steve with 3 points on that one. Good job. You got way more than I would have. Me and Bill are on the same page with that one. I wouldn't have gotten that one. All right. Here we go, okay? This is going to be a one question that's worth 3 points. So it's 3 parts, okay? The same college, I'll give you one major hint. This happened in the last, I'll just put a number out there. I'll just not even put a number. This happened somewhat recently, okay? The same college had their quarterbacks go first overall in back-to-back years. The same college, back-to-back years, had their quarterback go number 1 overall. So it would be like, what's his name? Caleb Williams out of USC. Say next year he goes number 1 overall. Then some dude takes over, and in 2025, he's selected first overall. Back to back years. Name the college that produced these quarterbacks, and then I'll give you 1 point if you can name each player. Bill said, "Oh, this was bust." Yeah, I totally misunderstood. Old Miss. So think in your head. I'll give you a hint. This is not very this is recent. This is recent, okay? I'll just say it. This happened in the last 10 years. It might have happened in the last 6 years. I heard about this one. Cannot remember who they were or college though, so no clue. I'll give you one more hint, okay? Both of these quarterbacks currently are starting in the NFL. I think that's a big hint. And they both play where it's hot. Hot temperature. Oh, guess Ole Miss for Eli. That's good. That was the last hint I'm gonna give, and then I'll give you the answer. If you guys are like, "Dude, come on, we don't know it," I'll give, I'll give you the answer. And if you're just tuning in online right now, the question is: the same college had their quarterback go first overall in back-to-back years. Name the college for 1 point, and name the players for another 2 points. These two quarterbacks are currently starting right now in the NFL, and they went to the same college. One of them was drafted in the last 4 years. One of them was drafted in the last 3 years, maybe. One of them has a video game addiction and it. Okay. Kyler Murray and Baker Mayfield. They went back to back. Baker Mayfield was picked with the first overall pick. The next year, Kyler Murray was picked with the first overall pick. Both of them went to Oklahoma and Georgia straight up. I This is one that I would have gotten. I'm not trying to rub it in, but I get excited when there was one that I would have known. Now, who knows though if I really would have known it, because this is one of those questions where somebody tells you the answer and you're like, "Oh my god, of course I know that." But when it's asked, you're just I could see this being one of those that I might have been like trying to go through and I couldn't figure it out and then just said Alabama or something. I'm freaking blanking. Yep, so it's Kyler Murray, Baker Mayfield out of Oklahoma. Next question. This is gonna two nobodies. Guess that's why I had no clue. LOL. Shots fired. Steve, Baker might be good this year. We don't know. He might go to Tampa and light it up. Probably not, but I don't know why. But I kind of, ever since they got rid of him in Cleveland and then sent him to Carolina, which was like purgatory, and then they sent him to LA, I'm kind of rooting for the guy at this point. I don't know why. So here's the next question. It's very, very similar to this format, okay? Here we go. Which college team had their quarterback go first? What? I just did that one. Sorry. Here it is. From 2001 to 2005, we had 5 straight quarterbacks selected with the first overall pick. You will receive a point for each correct quarterback. 2001 to 2005, the very first pick went quarterback, 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 quarterback. You get a point for everyone you name, and it doesn't even have to be in chronological order. Dogs over here sneezing. You need the door open? It does feel really stuffy in here. These hotels, they probably didn't change the ventilation in here. I don't even. Oh, here it is. I'm not leaving. I'm just turning the heat off because it's messing with my dog's nose. Oh, it's so easy to tell for me. My nose is just really sensitive. So easy for me to tell when air filters haven't been cleaned. Joking, sort of. Once the video game reference came out, I knew who, but I didn't know where from. Wife, BRB. That's all you got to say. Shouldn't. I was going to say, you shouldn't talk about your parrot like that. or your wife like that. So this one. I'm sure Bill will. This is a softball for Bill. So basically, you just got to think, okay, from 2001 to 2005, Which quarterbacks do you remember being drafted with the first overall pick? Burrow, Kyler, and Trevor. That's all I got for sure. 2001 to 2005. You got Burrow, Kyler, and Trevor. Burrow, Lawrence, and you just said Murray and Mayfield, so those are a given. Guys, from 2001 to 2005, Burrow was drafted 3 years ago. Lawrence was drafted 2 years ago. Murray was drafted like 4 years ago, and Mayfield 5 years ago. We're still in like 2017 if you go all the way back. We're going back to 2001, pre 9/11. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I was like, come on. I was like, nah, I wasn't gonna pick on you guys, but I was like, dude, there's no way that they think Burrow and Lawrence and Murray were drafted in 2001. I was like, no, they know that they'd be retired. Well, Eli and Palmer, maybe. Okay, now we're getting some answers. Now we're getting some answers that make some sense here. All right. So we got two answers for Bill. I can only think of Eli. I think he was '05. All right. Steve can only think of Eli. Who else is old? Here's a hint. None of these guys are still playing, but every one of these guys you will know. You will know every person on this list. There's no surprise answers here. I want to say Couch, but I think he was before '01. I think you're right about that, Steve. I only got two. Oh, correct. Steve and Bill, little partnership forming here. I like it. Some people might say, no, you can't do that. I like it. I think it's dumb if you see an answer in the chat and you know it's right to not type it yourself. If you're not cheating, you're not trying. That's what I mean to an extent. Like don't actually cheat, but like, you know, if the answer is underneath you, it's underneath you. Like we can't do nothing about that. And I will say, Bill, those two so far are really good answers. And these other quarterbacks, I'm telling you, you might not know them right now, but once I say it, not really. We both already picked Eli. I thought Steve was saying correct, Bill, about the Carson Palmer because he said, "Well, Eli and Palmer," and then I saw you say, "Oh, correct, Bill." So I thought you were saying, "Oh, you're saying correct, Bill, about the Eli trade for Rivers." Okay, okay, so we're on. Not really. We both already. Okay, so when you guys are like can't think of anyone else, just put final, and then I'll reveal. I'll do the big reveal. I will give you the answers. Bill just confirmed Eli was a correct pick by the Rivers trade. Yeah, I caught up, but it took me a while. I'm a little slow today. A little slow today. I hope you guys are liking this trivia. I hope it's not lagging. I damn hotel Wi-Fi better not let me down. Oh, Bill, here we go. I did the Top Gun flight experience in the airplanes, and the pilot told me to put the nose down to gain extra speed for the loop. Legal. And he said, "You ain't cheating if you ain't trying." Final. I'm final. I stand with Eli and Couch, even though I'm pretty sure the latter is wrong, but I already picked them. Respect. Here are the answers. I will go in chronological order for the reveal. 2001, Michael Vick, Virginia Tech. 2002, David Carr, Fresno State. 2003, Carson Palmer, USC. 2004, Eli Manning, Ole Miss. 2005, was it Aaron Rodgers? No, it was Alex Smith, Utah. Alex Smith. It was the same year that Rodgers was drafted to the Packers, and the 49ers went with Alex Smith and not Aaron Rodgers. And those are your 5 in order. Bill said Carr. He's still no. This is David Carr, Derek Carr's brother. David Carr played for the Texans for a long time. That's how I knew him from over there. Not like on a first name basis, but I did get to meet him. I met that the team was when they had Andre Johnson over there. I believe Bill O'Brien was the head coach. That guy's been all over. So yes, okay. So that one was a little tough. I'll make a note to not ask that question anymore. Okay, so here we go. This is a fun one. Which one of these players that were selected first overall did not win the Heisman Trophy? Most first overall picks win a Heisman Trophy. But one of these guys went first overall and they did not win the Heisman. Who is it? Is it Jameis Winston, Baker Mayfield, Kyler Murray, or Trevor Lawrence? Which one of these players that was selected first overall did not win a Heisman Trophy? It's a good one, right? I like this one. Ooh, so Steve, answering quick. Bill, Balls, Steve, Kyler, or Kyler. 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 Okay. Kyler, Steve. Final answer is in with Kyler Murray. Was Kyler Murray drafted first overall, but did not win a Heisman? Bill, who do you got? Do you got Jameis Winston, Baker Mayfield? Nah, Eli was picked first, but didn't get a Heisman. No. Out of these four players, who did not win a Heisman? So there are four options: Jameis Winston, Baker Mayfield, Kyler Murray, Trevor Lawrence. They all went first overall, but only one of them didn't win a Heisman. If they were having a high school reunion, but it was like a Heisman Trophy reunion, one of these guys don't have a seat at the table. Identify said player. So you are right. You are right about the Eli, but not right for because he wasn't an option. Trevor, just guessing. Ding, 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 ding. That's actually correct. Trevor Lawrence did not win a Heisman Trophy. Now, I personally cannot believe that because Trevor Lawrence was the most dominating player in not just Clemson, like in college football. Trevor Lawrence not winning a Heisman in my lifetime is probably one of the biggest robs I've ever seen, especially when you look at who won the Heisman. Trevor Lawrence still made history, though. He was the first player in um, Clemson history to be the runner up, so second place for the Heisman. First guy ever to do it. I read about that because I was searching for Trevor Lawrence's Heisman Trophy. I just couldn't believe it. If even if you're not a big college football watcher, I'm not a big college football watcher, but even I knew that when when Trevor Lawrence was at Clemson, nobody stood a chance. I only picked it because he came out and I was like, who the hell is this guy? I only picked it because he came out and I was like, who the hell is this guy last year? Oh, I didn't know what you meant by came out. I was like, dude, I've seen him with his fiance. You mean like started playing well? Okay. And then Steve said I was up between him and Kyler, but he had to. I thought he had to have with how he was the hype guy before the draft. Yeah, and rightfully so. He lost one college playoff game in 2 years. It was like he won every regular season game, every playoff game, won the national championship, goes into the next season, goes back to the national championship, and his first loss in high school and was in his second national championship game and then drafted first overall. Cannot believe that guy didn't win, especially over some of these other guys. Like Kyler Murray is not did not do for Oklahoma what Trevor Lawrence did for Clemson. And Dabo Sweeney, I believe, is the head coach's name. That guy's story is incredible. They did an ESPN E40 thing on him, and he was actually just a guy that was a player's assistant coach, and then they fired the head coach, and they made him the interim coach for the rest of the season. And it was supposed to be short term because the presidents and stuff wanted to hire a big name, but uh, Debo Dabble Sweeney, he won the hearts of the players, the locker room, and they started winning football games somehow after being terrible. And it's actually a really good story. Really, really good story. All right. Steve said, I don't watch college, but I knew for sure Baker and Winston did from NFL broadcasters mentioning it. Um, oh, she banging, no doubt. Oh, but his fiance. What a brain melter. Lamar Jackson has only lost 16 games as a starter in his whole career. He'd probably lose more if he played. It's easy to not lose games when you sit out entire seasons. I'm not on good terms with Lamar right now because of me, because of the debate. Just kidding. All right, so here we go. We got this question that I warned you about. This is very educational, okay? There's not even a question here until the last sentence. So all you have to do is just soak up what I'm about to share with you. From a lot of studying today, I learned this. There will be a question at the end of it. The position group that wins the Heisman Trophy in college football has changed drastically throughout history. From 1970 to 1979, only one quarterback won the Heisman Trophy. Instead, 8 running backs and a wide receiver took home the award. In the next decade, 1980 to 1989, only 3 quarterbacks won the Heisman Trophy. The majority of the winners were running backs again with 6. Herschel Walker and Bo Jackson are a few honorable mentions. So from 1970 to 1989, only 4 quarterbacks received the Heisman Trophy. However, in the last 33 years, the award has almost gone exclusively to quarterbacks, and there's only been 3 non quarterbacks to win the Heisman. in the last 33 years. So there's this entire shift that happened where quarterbacks in the span of 1970 to 1989, only four quarterbacks won it. And now in the last 33 years, almost every year quarterbacks won it, with the exception of three players. Here's the question. Name the three non-quarterbacks to win the Heisman in the last 33 years. Name the three non-quarterbacks that won the Heisman Trophy in the last 33 years. And this whole shift, especially when you look earlier when the award was first introduced, it was always going to running backs, and you think about football and how simple it was, just from the very beginning. It was just, take ball, give ball to fast guy score, and fast guy score many touchdowns, most important player clearly. And then as football continued to develop and become more of a mind game and more strategic, and the plays were being developed, and they were, just some of these guys, Kyle Shanahan, these schemes, and it's philosophy. It's philosophy, and it has gotten so insane. And now it's the quarterback position that is the most valuable, because now it's not about just being big and fast, because everybody's big and fast, but it's about what you have between the eyeballs. How big is your brain? And, looking people off, all that. It's no doubt that the quarterback is the most important position in sports. I would like to see maybe some non quarterbacks win it a little bit more, but it's just really hard to make an argument that a non quarterback. I mean, you got Bill right here saying Devontae Smith. After that, I got nothing because I have to see him twice a year. Devontae Smith. I will get to that in a second. I cannot continue to finish a sentence without giving away an answer. So it's I don't have a dog in that hunt. It came up in a tweet earlier, and I was like, "Wait, what? That is so weird. That is so weird that would came up. Want a brain melt? Oh, I read the Lamar one already. That always happens, right? It's like the moment you ask a question, you see it on a commercial. It happens to me a lot. Episodes of SpongeBob just replaying my day at the end of the day. And this is question number 12, which means there are three questions left. None of them are as long as this. Steve said, I know for sure Eddie George won one. Loved watching him. And the earlier pick, I had won it. Ricky Williams. Yes, but keep in mind, Steve, in the last 33 years, so you can't go any further back than 1989. Well, 1990, okay? 1990s are cutoff. So if these are players that are non-quarterbacks that were drafted before 1990, they don't count, because that's when the award was going to running backs. The majority, it became unique for a non-quarterback to win after 1989. So I will give you a huge hint here, okay? Because I understand this is a hard question. And this hint is going to give you probably the answer. They all went to the same college. They all went to the same college. Okay? And an extra point if you can name the college. Now we're cooking. That's kind of that's that's going to help a lot, because you got one player in here, and if you know what college that one player went to, now you know what college the other two went to, and now you just got to think. It says in the last 33 years, but this these three players, you don't have to go too far back. You got to go a little back, but don't go back 32 years. Don't go back that far. Don't go back 30 years. I'll give it 30 more seconds and I will reveal the answer to the world. And once again, you guys are watching this tomorrow, and hopefully I'm actually on a flight. Then just put it in the comments. Put your answer in the comments. Bill said, okay, I just looked it up and now I'm embarrassed. Thank you for your honesty. Steve said, I have no clue then. I thought those two were in the 90s. Maybe Derrick Henry? Maybe. Freaking Ron. All right. Here we go. Steve said maybe Derrick Henry. I'm going to give you a point for that one. Okay? That is the only one that you're going to get. And Bill's going to get 1 point too. So you and Bill are going to split a point here because Devontae Smith did win it. And this is what I wanted to say that I couldn't say is that Devontae Smith won it instead of Trevor Lawrence. So as much as I'm like, I would like to see other guys get it, he didn't deserve to win that over Trevor Lawrence. I don't care how good his season was. Trevor Lawrence was different than all of the other quarterbacks at the time. So here are your three, okay? Trevor Lawrence, Devontae Smith, Derrick Henry, that's why I got you that point, and Mark Ingram. Mark Ingram. All three went to Alabama, and all three are the non-quarterbacks to win the Heisman in the last 33 years. Yes, the Heisman Trophy has taken on a positional shift, and who knows if it'll ever go back. Okay? So that was a question I spent literally 20 minutes writing, and I hope you guys liked it. Okay. Here we go. We got 3 more questions. Let's finish strong, okay? Which of these teams has never had a first overall pick? So which of these teams has never had a first overall pick? The Pittsburgh Steelers, the Philadelphia Eagles, the Dallas Cowboys, or the Denver Broncos? Which one of these teams has never been able to pick with the first overall pick? Pittsburgh Steelers, Philadelphia Eagles, Dallas Cowboys, Denver Broncos. Who has never had a first overall pick? With the first round, gonna go with the Steel Curtain. The Steelers. Steelers have been always good. The Steelers have been relevant for, was it Bill Cowher? For long as we can remember, the Steelers have been relevant. Bill says either them or the Cowboys. The answer is the Denver Broncos. So the Pittsburgh Steelers had a first overall pick in 1970, and the Cowboys had a first overall pick in 1989. The Eagles had one in 1936, but the Denver Broncos have never been the worst team in the NFL. Not even one time. And hey, that's something to be proud of. That is something you can hang your hat on. That's a chin held high, a chest puffed out. You homered that question. No. Yes, I did. because there were other teams that I could have mentioned. I didn't see the Vikings. I didn't see the Packers either with the first overall pick. But if I have to pick a team, I'm gonna go with the Broncos. I'm gonna go with the Broncos. I'm gonna homer it. And if anything, you guys should have known I was homering it. You should have been like, Denver Broncos. Have I ever heard of the Broncos picking first? Because you would have probably thought to yourself, you know what? They've never picked first. Here we go. Oh, you guys are so funny. All right, last two questions. How many times has the number one pick been traded before the NFL draft since the NFL AFL merger? How many times has the number one pick been traded? We saw it get traded this year. Chicago had it, traded it to Carolina. How many times has that happened, though? 10 times, 3 times, 7 times, or 13 times? 10, 3, 7, 13. How many times has the first overall pick been traded before the NFL draft begins? Bill going with 10. Steve's going with 3. And the answer is 13. It happened 12 times. And then when Chicago did it, it was the 13th time that it happened, which makes the pick historically unlucky, right? No 13s, no 13th floor. Friday the 13th, 13 supposed to be bad. So does that mean whoever Carolina drafts is going to be a bust? I don't know. I didn't even know that this was the 13th time until I did some studying today in the airport. But it's happened only 13 times, which does mean that it is rare, and it'll be exciting to see what happens. We got it, Bill. Your 10 and my 3 makes 13. That is perfect. That is perfect addition. And I actually like to do that with numbers all the time, where I'll go 7 times 3 is 21, and 21 minus 13 is what, 15? I don't know. I'm so tired, guys. But I do that with numbers and license plates and addresses. I always try to make the numbers have some kind of pattern. I don't know if that means that I'm special. From what I hear, once in a while, some other people do it too. So I can appreciate you guys adding your numbers. I really can. This is the final question of the first overall trivia. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I really, really do. Here we go. This isn't going to be about the first overall pick. This question is going to be about the first round selection. Okay? First round selections. Order these 2019 first rounders by age. Josh Jacobs, Devon White, Devin Bush, Kyler Murray, Nick Bosa. From youngest to oldest. Josh Jacobs, Devin White. I learned to memorize my sevens by touchdown scores when I was a kid. I still, that is still what the one that I know the best. I can do my sevens, 7, 14, 21, 28, 35, 42, 49, 56, 63, 70, 77, and then I lose it because NFL games don't go that high. So here we go. Numerology is definitely a real thing, Kyle. It's not just you. Thank you, Bill. Oh, I love when my assistant brings me water. Ah, thank you. and bring me another water every 7 minutes, and then two waters every 3 minutes until one of us passes out. So, which order chronologically are these players? Josh Jacobs. You can just do Jacobs, White, Bush, Murray, Bosa. Wonder Twins Unite. And Wonder Twins Unite was not the answer. What do they say in Jeopardy when they ask the question and it's not a Oh no, that's Family Feud. And the survey says I auditioned for Family Feud and I have pictures, and we made it all the way to the third round. We were about to go to Atlanta, and my brother in the interview, when we were going person to person, we had to say a little bit about ourselves, why we would be good for TV. That's what they're doing. They teach you how to be on Family Feud. They teach you that no matter what answer is said, you're supposed to go, good answer, and have a lot of energy. In my family, all we do is like talk shit about each other. So telling us that we had to compliment each other was so funny in itself that it was great for TV because we were genuinely laughing that we had to compliment each other. I don't have a problem with it, but my brother's not a complimenter. So anyway, we did so well. We made it. They asked us something you'd see in a James Bond movie. We got every single question on the board right, with my aunt saying a dirty martini, my brother saying a fast car. We crushed it. We make it all the way to the end of the thing. They're gonna send us to Atlanta. The camera's rolling. Say who you are and one good thing about you. My aunt. I'm a court reporter, stenographer. She types in the courtroom. Interesting. Goes to me. I'm a flight attendant. Oh, that's interesting. Keeps going down. Gets to my brother. He goes, I like to get drunk and go on Tinder. Swipe left. And we're all just like, what are you doing? Why'd you? And they didn't call back. It was like that was either going to go really well or really bad. And initially we all thought it was going to go really bad, and we were right. But imagine it if it would have went well, you know? They're introducing us on national TV, and Tyler Kitzman, who likes to get drunk and swipe on Tinder. And yeah, we won't let him forget that he ruined our opportunity to meet Steve Harvey. That's one honest brother. So Bill's answer is in. So here we go. All right, the final answer of our first overall trivia. This is the correct order. Devin Bush was the youngest player. He was 20 years old and his birthday was July 18th. My brother, the Tinder drunk one, July 19th, one day away from his birthday. Devin Bush was the youngest player. Number two was Devin White. Devin White was number two. And he was born February 21st, February 17th. Then it goes to Josh Jacobs, who's just a little bit older. He's February 11th. Then it goes to Nick Bosa, who is 21 years old. Birthday one day away from my dad's, October 23rd. And Kyler Murray was the oldest at 21. Oldest of these four. They were much older people, but Kyler Murray was the oldest. He was born August 7th, which is 2 days away from my birthday. And I just threw that one in there because I thought it was cool. I was actually trying to find a specific answer, but I realized that it was going to take me probably an entire hour to get the answer because it wasn't on the internet. And the original question was going to be, who is the oldest first overall pick in history? And that was just not readily available, and I would have had to go year by year and figure out how old these guys were when they were drafted. But that was the closest I could get to that question. So I hope you guys enjoyed first overall pick trivia. If you guys are watching online, whether it's tomorrow or the next day, throw your answers in the comments. We'll be sure to tally those up on our end so that you can win one of Rick's prizes, whichever ones he discloses. I think he still got that 1994 Sports Illustrated with Jerry Rice. We need the names on the screen for that one. I would have guessed Kyler was the youngest by his behavior. You know what? Here, I'll put it on there right now. I got you. Here it is. Here you go. You ask and you shall receive. I put it in the comments. They're even better. Josh Jacobs. So the number that you're seeing, see the number Josh Jacobs 3, he's third. Devin Bush 1, he's first, meaning the youngest. We need before the answer reveal. I can't go back in time, guys. I don't have my time machine. Every time I say time machine, I think of The Pursuit of Happiness, where that guy thinks that the bone density scanner is a time machine. And there it is. There it is. Okay. I got it as a banner now. So there, here you, wait, go away. There it is. Okay. Josh Jacobs, third. It's still sloppy. It's still sloppy. Let's just let's just not and say we did. Next time we'll throw it up there for you guys so that you have some kind of reference because it's like I'm making you memorize the 5 options. It's a little insane. I got to say that last question was kind of sloppy, but with that pushed to the side, I think the other ones were fun and exciting. And next week, the NFL draft will be concluded by this time, which means you guys are going to want to see the live stream. There's not going to be trivia during the draft. I would never do that. So, next Thursday, I will be going live back in the Christmas dungeon for the NFL draft, and I'm going to be putting out a lot of YouTube videos. So you might see me doing things on the phone while I'm talking, but that's just because I gotta get these videos out on the internet immediately. But it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to get to talk about it. I'll probably call in some of my college football people to do a draft analysis because, like, we watch NFL, we don't really know about college players, but we're going to learn. I learn everything I need to know about these players going into the NFL on draft day for the most part because I end up YouTubing every one of these guys when they get drafted pretty much. And I like to make my own predictions. So I will rank each draft pick before the next selection between 0 and 10. And I'm not going to hand out 10s. So definitely stay tuned for that. And then you guys can rank it yourself and we can see where it lines up. And regardless, it'll be fun to see the Broncos not pick until the third round. So I'm going to need something to do. So we'll be doing that. If you guys want to follow me on Twitter to stay updated with the draft picks and everything like that, in case there's any trades between now and then, FTBLONLYPODCAST, Football Only Podcast. And if you're new to the channel too, please like and share. Share at work, share with coworkers. Now is the time to get in here and join the family. We are getting closer to the season. Training camp is beginning. There is going to be things that will be discussed. Things are going to start heating up. Vacation's over. The players are getting back into the rhythm of work, and that means we're going to have a lot to talk about as we go forward. So let's do this. Let's get ready for 2023 because once this draft happens, we've officially turned that corner, and it is going to be a lot of fun for maybe you guys, but for a Broncos fan that's got Sean Payton, we couldn't have turned this page fast enough. So thanks for tuning in tonight. Thank you for participating in the trivia. You guys make it special. You guys make it fun. So I will see you guys on Monday and then Wednesday. Yeah, Wednesday I'll see you. So I'll see you two more times in a different background. And then Thursday is when the draft starts. I'm flying home, going straight to the house, and we're gonna get. I might wear my reading glasses. We're gonna get draft weird. All right. So Bill said just a hint. You may want to draw your shades when you have a mirror behind you. Everyone can see the reflection. Oh, oh, thank God. Thank God she wasn't changing or anything like that. They're like, why are we getting so many views? You know what? In my defense, it was uh it was daytime when I started it, so there was no reflection. But thank you, Bill. Thank you. And Steve, Kanishiwa, you guys have a great night, and I'll see you guys soon. And until then, go Broncos.